How's it going, everyone? Whiskey and out chilling out over here at the park today. Just gonna try to I'm trying to stay ahead on my content. Got a couple things on my mind, so try to get those off my mind, right? And there's one I want to hit kind of hard on, so I'll get to that later. But so we'll split this up probably into a couple of videos. Anyone just tuning in, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Appreciate it very much. And on this channel, pretty much I'm taking, doing the best I can at the moment, taking an uncensored look at everything that we're facing here in America, right? And, nobody has to agree completely with me on everything, that's for sure. And so let's hit the Second Amendment issue today, real quick while it's on my mind. I looked into it a little bit, and and for the life of me, I can't even recall. So forgive me if I'm a little bit, but I'll leave, maybe post some clips in here if I go ahead and go on with this video, and also links to help you catch up on what it is, because I'm not, some of this, with the Second Amendment, I have my opinions for sure. For one, shall not be infringed, period, right? That's where I stand on the Second Amendment. So, I got a lot of other issues going on, a lot of other things, keeping my mind focused on some things. So I want to do some more Second Amendment stuff, but I want to do it justice, right? But I give a shout out to my friend Bubs for bringing this case to my attention, and I should have got on it right away because he told me about it the day it happened. And so I appreciate that. Hey, hey, check this out. Look what's going on. And I totally appreciate that. And sadly I didn't get to it quick enough, but I mean, by the time this gets out there, I'm sure anyways, right? So my video, but I'm not always about always being the first on things either. And it's about the issues anyway. So here's the case
that a marijuana smoking gun owner in Texas cannot be prosecuted for violating a federal ban on users of illegal drugs who own firearms, or from owning firearms. They said it is unconstitutional to disarm her based on her past drug habits. Whoa. All right, first off, if you think the Department of Justice and the ATF should be disbanded, then subscribe to the channel down below.
What's going on with the 5th District? A lot of, they're pro-gun, right? It's a lot of wins for the Second Amendment on the 5th District. And so I'm like, yeah, we'll take the wins, right? If that's how you're calling it. These are all just infringements, right? And a lot of them are actually Second Amendment cases. They have to do with other stuff that the Second Amendment happens to fall into place here, right? And that's all fine, but we get to this case where, and this is a big win, they're declaring it unconstitutional that, just because you're a marijuana user, that you should have your rights infringed upon, right? It's not just marijuana, right? But what it boils down to, but and that is and that should be for sure protected, right? And so I agree it's a win. And but we got this other side of what's going on with all this. Like I said, I'm not real completely versed in all of all of this up to date, whatever. But I took a brief look at these. I watched these both videos all the way through, right? And and I'll leave the links, of course. And whether I post clips or not, I'll still leave some links to them. And they're talking about this case.
21 El Paso, Texas police responded to a report of shots fired at the home of Paola Connolly after a conflict between her husband and their neighbor. Now, upon arrival, the police found Connolly's husband standing in the neighbor's door firing a shotgun. Well, naturally, he was arrested, and officers spoke with Paola, who indicated that she sometimes used marijuana to calm herself and to help herself sleep. Well, sometimes people say things that they shouldn't to police. A search of the home found drug paraphernalia and several guns, including some that she owned. Now, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, 3-judge panel said the prosecution violated her right to keep and bear arms under the Constitution's Second Amendment, citing the 2022 U.S. Supreme Court case, New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruin, due to its slaying anti-gun laws across the country. Now, Judge Kurt Engelhardt, who is a Trump appointee, said this: marijuana user or not, Paola is a member of our political community and thus has a presumptive right to bear arms.
And, so it is a big win, right? This, but then you got on the other hand also, right? Because, and as my friend had told me, and as this one other view out there is pointing out, the thing is, it's not so much a case we want to get actually into the Supreme Court, into the final thing there, right?
Federal law that you can't use marijuana and blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? It's a legal drug. So it's not the most sympathetic set of facts or sympathetic people that we want going before the Supreme Court in this particular case. So again, my druthers is always to have a sympathetic pro-Second Amendment person or group in front of the Supreme Court rather than someone that's a little dicey. And I don't know anything about Paola Connolly other than from what's on this record. But I mean, the fact that, she got arrested in the context of her husband, I think, getting arrested, and there was other sort of shenanigans going on where there's a lot of drug paraphernalia in the home. And I think she acknowledged that the family had done cocaine. I don't think she had done it, but I think her husband may have been involved with cocaine or crack or something like that. But whatever it is, the point is that sort of the context of this case is not as clean and smooth and favorable and innocent as I would like in a perfect situation. So I don't particularly love the fact that Fifth Circuit did this, because it's going to increase the odds of this case being taken by the U.S. Supreme Court for the next term. And if they take this Second Amendment case, it means it's bumping out of the line other much more favorable Second Amendment cases where we can get favorable rulings.
And I can see where that's coming from totally, and especially when he explains it out to me. As I said before, as I get better stuff around, better to do these properly, get my mics fixed up properly, and I'm going to sit down with him and he'll get us up to verse on some of this stuff, right? But the thing is, so I do understand where that's coming from, and anyone wants to look into it, by all means look into it. Not every win is so much necessarily a win if you look at the long run in the big picture of things, and such as the machine gun rule, and we'll see. The thing is, because I'm seeing this, we got to look, to give you my opinion on some of this, like this whole I say, okay, we'll take this win. And the thing is, the one view is, well, we take it, but we don't really want this to be one of the cases, just like the machine gun one, my last Second Amendment video I did, and then this one, this case where this woman, where they reversed it because it was an infringement on her rights because she was a pot smoker, right? And, but these aren't so much that you want to get them into the Supreme Court, because the Supreme Court does very little cases, period. And so that means even very hardly any at all Second Amendment cases. And, so we want to get a real good one in there. And I get that. And I get that. At the same time, we'll take a win where we can get it. But the problem is, here's what I'm getting at. I understand these views. I'm not cutting anybody's views down on this or whatever. Second Amendment's important to all of us. And as my other video, I'm going to get into some things that are happening. For sure, it's important, right? But it's been infringed on. All of our rights have been infringed on. You talk to me, I'm someone whose complete rights have been infringed on, right? Every last right. My Second Amendment was infringed day one when my case started. Day one, right off the bat, Second Amendment infringed. Cops call me, tell me I gotta turn in guns if I have any in my, all this and that. You screw off, right? That's my Second Amendment, but it was infringed. And the court went along with it, and, whatever, we get into that. But the thing is, it's being infringed anyways. And I do not see, and my thing is, let's take a step back, let's put some wisdom into this. And I agree where you're coming from, where these certain, when the one side's coming from, hey, you know, this is nice getting all these Fifth Circuit pro Second Amendment cases going, but you know, some of these cases we don't necessarily want to hit into the Supreme Court. We'd rather some of these other cases, you know, and I get that. So, but what's going on here? And we got to understand, as I'm going to get into in my either before or after this one, whatever video, of some things going on. The stage is being set, because if we just look at the current atmosphere, look at everything, our government is against us. I don't care what side you're on, Republican or Democrat. This is not what America's about, this side or that side. It's either abiding by the Constitution or it isn't. If it isn't by the Constitution, it's null and void and needs to go. Right? So we have, so what's going on here? I do not expect any real wins to hit the Supreme Court, in my opinion. And there's some people that will agree that, like my one buddy who'll agree, some of these cases, if they hit there, that won't be so much great if it hits the Supreme Court, right? As it pertains for the Second Amendment, because how they'll do it, right? And some of these people are not so much so much pro Second Amendment like you think. Just because they might be Republican don't mean there's very much so much pro Second Amendment, right? As much as you think anyways, like gun-ho Second Amendment, right? And just like, you know, because like in my one video where I'm explaining about stuff about the Masons, I've had more than one person get on me and say, well, you know, like supposedly these rules, like no Catholics, like so-and-so can't be, you might be wrong because so-and-so can't be a Mason because he's a Catholic. And no, I assure you, I know for sure 100% fact that there are Catholics that are Masons, okay? But anyways, the point is, this Second Amendment, where's it really going? You know, this kind of stuff, right? My thing is, yeah, it is, isn't it? Wow, all these pro Second Amendment stuff's really, the Fifth Circuit is really being pro Second Amendment. We're good there, right? Until you know, on the lower ends or higher ends, right? So, do we see what's going on there? As I'm going to get into in a different video about the same, it's the same tactics and stuff, but on a different angle, right? This is what's going on, I believe. Because while we can say, hey, who cares, we'll take a Second Amendment win on any level, right? Perhaps. Because here's what's going on. Because truly, if certain ones of these do get in there, it could find a way to, you know, they'll find a way to rule it in a way that screws us, right? On the Second Amendment rights. And so do we see what's going on there? Our courts are playing us. They're not any more Second Amendment than, you know, they're truly not. They're all playing this game. And America's being directed into a certain way. Okay, we see all this gangs taking over, supposed Venezuelan gangs taking over these areas and all that here in America. And now the pro Second Amendment rulings coming, you know. Remember what I said, they're trying to push us into civil war for one thing, right? So you see what's going on here, in my opinion, is now the Fifth Circuit is voting all these in there. And while we're giving them credit saying, oh, they're pro Second Amendment, they're pro Second Amendment, the thing is, they're going to now, you know, flood these cases. That way, it's a higher chance that the ones that do hit the Supreme Court, if one hits the Supreme Court, it's a higher chance that it's going to be one of these that you probably don't so much want to be in there. So while you want to give the court, the Fifth Circuit credit, let's take a deeper look at it and see what really maybe they're doing to us and how they're fooling us on that. Anyways, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Appreciate it. And let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. God will bring every work into judgment, with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. And it's coming. See ya.